You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 74. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
I'm his clueless sidekick, Jeff Barnhart.
So, Jeff, I want to start the show with I got to eat a little crow, make a correction. But last week, we were talking about Craven the Hunter,
Right.
and you were asking about the word Craven.
Yeah.
Meaning, you asked me, did it mean like cowardly? And I was like, well, no, and I went in my elaborate explanation. Yeah. It totally means cowardly.
Okay.
But see, because I'd been misled all this time, because craven and cowardly are always like used in the same sentence together, like and people like kind of use them both, and so I thought there were two different things. I was like, why would people be so redundant as to use them both?
You cowardly coward?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. So, oops. Yeah. But anyway, moving right along, we've got Marvel Tales number 12. And the lead story is reprinted from Amazing Spider-Man number 17. And it is The Return of the Green Goblin, written by Stan Lee, with art by Steve Ditko.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The front page.
Splash page.
The splash page. I always like it when, I don't know, it's a common trope is to have half his face is Peter Parker, and the other half is Spider-Man.
Right.
He's sitting pondering. He's thinking about the Green Goblin, and they're fighting over the desert for some reason.
Sure.
Which is odd. I don't know. Did they fight over the desert before?
I haven't really read that very first story with the Green Goblin, so I don't know. I don't know if that's part of his imagination or what.
Yeah. And his fellow students are making fun of him for being a bookworm.
Big surprise.
Yeah. But we're going to do a little bit differently here. We're going to go over the plot, and then we will go over whatever interesting stuff I gleaned from it.
Okay, so let's do it. We'll try this new approach. And
the big deal is the Flash begins a Spider-Man club.
Oh, that's right, Flash Thompson.
Yeah, and which is kind of... Is that a joke on the Flash, or is that a...
No, it's just like... I think remember Flash Gordon, he was like the ball player, and they called him Flash because he was fast.
Yeah.
I think Flash Thompson, he's like a star athlete. It's the same kind of thing.
Then.
Yeah. Hey, Flash. It used to be like a nickname people had. So.
Right. I never heard of anyone known as Flash. But that's probably back in the 50s and 60s, which was a different country in a lot of ways.
Indeed.
Oh, so Green Goblin... He's still mad about losing, so he's training with super new weapons and all.
What is it about supervillainy and like being a sore loser? If you're a sore loser, you become a supervillain because you're bitter.
Yeah, although you can be a good guy and be bitter about something too. I suppose,
but I mean, good guys aren't sore losers. They're like, okay, I was beaten, so I'm going to get back up and go at it again.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to get revenge. It's about overcoming adversity in a positive way.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is great. Okay.
Oh, so they have the Spider-Man big event. And it's a huge event, and they invited Spider-Man, so Spider-Man's going to come. But the Green Goblin wants to come too, and so does the Torch.
Well, here's the thing. That's why it's funny, because Flash Thompson starts his club, and they put an ad out in the paper like, hey, come to the Forest Hills Spider-Man Club, and everybody knows he's going to be there. And he says, oh, and Spider-Man will be there, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, Spider-Man's enemies, I'm surprised he didn't get a whole bunch of villains show up.
Right.
But the Green Goblin shows up to fight Spidey.
Yeah, and they think it's a put-on, but then they decide it's not. And then they're fighting, and... the Torch realizes, hey, they're actually fighting for real. It's not a put on, and
so he gets into it.
Yeah, and then he overhears that Aunt May had a heart attack, so he runs away, and everyone thinks he's a coward.
Right. And Flash Thompson loses face for being like the number one Spidey fan. Everybody's like, Spider-Man, he's a piker, and. But also, Peter gets into trouble with Betty because she was going to come and cover the story for the paper, and you should too, Peter. but then she catches him in doing the old switcheroo to be Peter and Spidey at the same time at the party,
Right.
and she sees him there with Liz Allen, and she gets all mad.
I
Betty does.
enjoy the rivalry. Although, why are they don't know he's Spider-Man, but does he have something in him as Peter Parker? He is Spider-Man. And does he have something that makes girls attracted to him? Because
I don't know. I mean, I think Betty and Liz are both girls that are attracted to not Mr. Moose Chocnowitz. They like a more sensitive guy, and Peter is a sensitive, smart guy, and I think that they're into that.
Yeah. I do enjoy the rivalry. It's fun.
It is fun.
Okay, segue time.
Okay.
Do we know Mary James Watson's? Is it Watkins or Watson?
Watson. There was a typo in this issue.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Stan Lee forgot or something and called Anna Watson Anna Watkins throughout this whole story.
Do we know her first name in this at this time?
No, she's just Anna Watson's niece.
Okay. I think they hear about it before they actually meet her.
Right.
I was thinking that Mary Jane is a name that at that time meant any two-word name,
Mhm.
Betty Sue and all that stuff, was old hat by 1964.
Sure.
And so you say, oh, Mary Jane is, oh no, she's gonna be some hillbilly.
Or she's going to be dumpy. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing about names. So now we know Mary Jane Watson. Wow, she's hot. And
Yes.
so if two mustached people changed names in 1938, would Chaplin be an evil name and Hitler be okay? Yeah, man, let's go see that Hitler movie. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, no one is named Adolf or named Adolf as a first name, or and after World War II, the last name Hitler is like everybody changed it.
I
Who
know
have it.
somebody who was 40 years old, and well, it was about 10 years ago maybe, but he was named Adolf. I think he with an E, a silent E at the end. But
Adolf.
I said, man, and African American too. So,
Interesting.
yeah, that's sort of nice guy.
Okay.
Adolf Manjur, whether he was born before the unpleasantness, but
a lot of people, they like, yeah, let's not name our kid that. And if their last name was Hitler, they changed it to something else.
So I don't know. It's just the power of a name. And
Oh, yeah.
like, what do you think a guy named Little Boots or Bootykins would be?
I mean, a nice little kid, but of course we know that's Caligula.
Right. And I started playing World of Warcraft, and I needed a name for something, so I named my cat Sula after this Masters of Rome series, which I adore,
Right.
and who was described. It was described not as a tiger or a lion, but as an alley cat because he likes to torture people. So,
Whoa.
And so I named my cat, and then I was trying to think of a name for myself. Oh, I'll name myself after my cat. And then about 3 or 4 months, I was riding along Azeroth, and said, "Oh my God! I named myself after this monster. What if people noticed this?" And no one did, but Sula is a guy who literally gave dictatorship a bad name, and he killed hundreds of people, and he murdered his mistress and his mother, and he went out with he had sex with little boys.
Whoa, that's
It's
awful.
really, and well, it was
I don't know why I said, yeah.
yeah,
All that stuff was awful.
right.
Okay.
And fascinating character, but no one ever knew that. But it's
Sure.
another name. But yeah, there's power in names. There's that fantasy trope of knowing your true name, never letting anyone know your true name because they have power over you. But
Yeah.
words have meanings and are totally that change over time. So it's interesting. But Mary Jane is not. She's hottie hot,
But she's not revealed in this. It's not for quite a while. I think they kept that.
neither is a Green Goblin. He is kept secret.
I mean, we know that it's Norman Osborn, but that wasn't revealed for quite some time. And in fact, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, their creative partnership ended over lots of editorial things like Ditko just wanted the Green Goblin to be somebody that Peter didn't know.
Right.
Just a random guy. He thought that was like make more sense, like more true to life.
Mm-hmm.
But Stan Lee's like, no, it should be like be revealed as his best friend's father. That's more dramatic and interesting. And I think Stan, yeah, me too. Steve Ditko, great, but he's a weirdo. You know, he's all into the Ayn Rand philosophy and all kinds of stuff, and you can see that. Spider-Man is so wrapped up in his individualism and me and my troubles. He's tried to do good things for society, but he's not like wholly selfless like Superman or Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
They never have these like, well, if only I took the easy way out. They don't even think about it.
Which makes Spider-Man more realistic.
Yeah.
And he's a real person. No one's that selfless. And maybe not even good for you to be that selfless.
Yeah.
Oh, what else happened? Man, everyone is spending a long time plotting against Peter Parker.
Puny Parker.
They spent a lot of time. Man, and Liz is mean to Betty. But, gosh.
And Betty is real witchy to...
yeah. Last time she was, and now the fight is on. But
and Betty's this nice girl, but she must feel really self-conscious or, something, or inadequate next to... She must think that Liz is really pretty or prettier than her. Mm-hmm. That's why she's being catty like that.
Yeah. I think Betty is cuter, but who knows?
Well, Liz has this frumpy hairdo that I don't really like.
I don't like that either.
But I think they're both sweet girls.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Green Goblin's pretty cool. He's got a lot of new gadgets.
He's got the pumpkin bomb, which is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Great fight.
Yeah, and the Torch isn't a jerkwad.
No, he's not, which is nice.
Yeah, and different.
Well, because his relationship with Spider-Man kind of grows over time, and it's cool. It works like real human relationships.
Yeah. They're rivals instead of enemies.
They're frenemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a friendly rivalry. So it's really cool. And at the end of the issue, Peter's like, I'm going to stop being Spider-Man, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, indeed.
He gives up being Spider-Man about as often as the Thing quits the Fantastic Four.
I know. I was thinking, is this the one the famous one where he throws it in the garbage can? But
no, that's much later.
I know.
Which is a great issue.
Mm-hmm. I have read it long ago.
Yes. But our next story, reprinted from Strange Tales number 110, it's the Human Torch versus the Wizard and Paste Pot Pete.
Okay.
Written by Stan Lee and H.E. Huntley, with art by Dick Ayers.
A better than average Flash. Not Flash. I'm sorry. Torch.
Solo story. Yeah.
I don't like these. You don't like them either. But this one was okay.
It's the Wizard alone is missing something, and Paste Pot Pete alone is missing something. A lot of the villains that he fights in these solo stories are kind of eh.
And Torch is missing something.
Yeah,
the rest of the Fantastic Four.
Yep. But although they usually make a cameo, at least one of them does in one of these stories. But the playing off how the Trapster, Paste Pot Pete and the Wizard play off each other in the story is what is the glue.
Yeah. And
I didn't even do that on purpose.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, so we're back from our little break. Human Torch, Paste Pot Pete, the Wizard. What's going on?
Okay. The Wizard's in jail. Paste Pot Pete. God, what an awful name.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Triple P. He wants to. He realizes that he cannot defeat Torch by himself, so he needs the help of the Wizard. He almost defeated Torch as well, so he gets him out of prison. Fairly clever way of doing it. Sneaks in with a truck and starts pacing everybody inside.
Yeah, no,
it's cool.
It's a testament to a good comic book writer who can make a stupid villain seem formidable, and that is achieved in this story. Way to go, Stan. I think it's Stan. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. So, although the one problem with this is they got to get rid of the torch, but aren't there other superheroes? Not to mention, there's three other Fantastic Four members, but they want to get rid of the torch.
Right.
It's, I don't know.
Well, this develops later as their vendetta against the Torch would extend to the entire Fantastic Four,
Right.
and they would have their anti-Fantastic Four, the Frightful Four.
Right. Which is cool. I like that.
I like them.
But really, you would have the villains would be against everybody. But,
Well, yeah.
I mean, and if the Fantastic Four disappeared, there's going to be other, here comes Daredevil and Spider-Man.
Exactly. And
Yes.
actually, some of these villains that they put them against somebody real powerful like the Torch or Thor or somebody, they'd work better against more street level heroes like Daredevil.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that more, but yeah.
Let's see what. Oh. Yeah, but it's pretty clever.
Like Paper Pete against Daredevil would be a great story.
Yeah. Indeed, that'd be bad for DD, I think.
Yeah.
One thing, Paste Pete is like an evil thing, as in he's lower class and from the streets.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's kind of interesting because he's with, is it the Wizard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is this Brainiac?
It's and he's urbane and polysyllabic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they make a good, they're constantly fighting amongst each other.
Yeah.
This is the first time they really meet.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like just because Paste Pete is kind of lower class, he does demonstrate his ability to come up with good plans. His plan to get the wizard out was really clever. What was it again? What did he do?
He came in a truck, and he figured out the truck came in with bread.
Yeah, he figured out like the timing of when all the routines of the prison and stuff.
And then
That's meticulous planning, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. And it sounds like it worked too.
Yeah.
Well, they framed the torch, which I hardly even know how they framed him. They didn't really go into detail, so it makes me think the writer didn't really have an idea. But
Yeah.
he's framed, but no one really believes it. So, but it kicks off Torch. So they bring him into a trap of a mirror, a mirrored hall.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is done in Lady from Shanghai by Orson Welles and Enter the Dragon.
Oh yeah, I love Enter the Dragon. I just rewatched it recently.
Wonderful film.
Yes, it is.
And the spoof of it in Kentucky Fried Chicken, The Fistful of Yen, is highly entertaining as
The Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, really funny. By the people who brought you Airplane, one of their first films.
Right.
But cool fight. He burns himself. He burns his way through the mirrors and wins. So,
Okay. Is that pretty much it? He beats them, sends them both to jail?
yeah. But now everyone seems to know that Johnny is a torch. But before, he was in secret. And
Hey, here's the thing.
happen?
That one story where he was kind of doing the secret identity thing, I was like, wait, what? He's always been public. The thing about the Fantastic Four was they never had secret identities. People knew right away who they were.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like they didn't have like big extended families or loved ones to like worry about that they had to protect. So whatever, they just didn't.
Mhm.
So
One bad mistake the wizard makes, I'll go to my house. The authorities will never look there.
like what? I remember that too. And I was like, well, what the crap? That's the first place they always look.
Yeah, because a lot of criminals are stupid.
Yeah.
The stupid criminal theme,
So you think it's the wizard thinking he's so smart that no way will they think I'm that dumb. So let's do the opposite of that.
although it works in this universe.
Right.
It is kind of obvious, but the cops would look, somebody calls us a place to start.
Well, right. That's kind of how police work works. So, but moving on, we have another stupid crap story told by.
No, not told.
Oh, that's right. This is an actual adventure with the Wasp.
Yeah.
And it's called. That's right. I get them all mixed up.
Oh, indeed.
But it's The Magician and the Maiden from Tales to Astonish, number 58. Written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, with art by Larry Lieber.
Yeah, magicians. Wow. Talk about lame-o.
Oh, anytime there's a magician supervillain, I'm like, oh, this is going to be stupid. Magic is so lame.
It's okay in a novel because you can get more into the makings of it, but it's too magical and you don't know. Oh, the hero is in a tight bind. Oh, he'll do magic.
Yeah, it's the easy way out of any situation. Oh, magic is the answer. And it's boring. And we've read so many stories where, there's a magician villain, and it's the same formulaic crap.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid even if it's Doctor Strange. It's like, he's just gonna magic his way out of it.
Yeah, in a way, I don't know. I don't know how magic works, and neither does the writer. It's at least in a book, in a novel, fantasy novel, they can tell you go into more detail, and it's better. But comic book is too.
When Conan fights a wizard, that's interesting. But I think it's because Conan's so awesome, not that the wizard is so cool,
right?
Or interesting. So I don't know.
Well, I guess magic was bigger deal back then. There's a lot more people
used to
watch magicians, but magicians, Blackstone magician was famous. Harry Houdini was famous.
Yeah,
Harry Houdini was probably the biggest celebrity of his time.
Yeah, but I mean, stage musicians or magicians, it's so vaudevillian. Like no one really cares about that unless you're like 80 years old and you're going to Las Vegas or Atlantic City or something.
Yeah, TV kind of killed it. TV killed circuses. TV killed. Oh, I guess stand-up comedians are still around, but.
Yeah, but I mean, they used to just like tell jokes, and now they tell stories with the humorous twist. It's different, or a life observation. Comedy, the way stand-up is done, has changed. We'll never see another Jerry Clower.
Although he just told stories.
But they're great.
Oh, I love Jerry Clower.
I was listening to Jerry Clower this morning. One of the great comedians of the 20th century. He's terrific.
And his jokes aren't that funny, but Jerry Clower is that funny.
It's just the way he tells the story. Right. He's a wonderful storyteller, and it's funny. It's all this weird country bumpkin stuff, but it's hilarious. So
who else is good? The Cajun Cook was good like that too.
Cajun Cook. See, I don't know.
He's on PBS. He had his own. Justin Wilson.
Oh, okay.
He told him he would be cooking and drinking wine out of a bottle. It was hilarious. And he'd tell this stupid, corny joke, which was absolutely hilarious because of the way he said it.
Yeah.
And it was this thick Cajun accent. It was great.
Yeah.
Andy Griffith. They called it. It was called football or something like that. And he goes to a football game, doesn't know what's going on, and it describes it as a hillbilly would, and it's hilarious. Great.
Okay.
But actually, the magician has an interesting trap here for the wasp. He has these fashions made from the wasp, and to entice her to come here.
Her vanity. He appeals to her vanity.
Yeah, and that would work, I think.
It is. It's so sexist, but yeah.
I don't have a style, but if I did have a style, I would think I would go with 2 as a guy.
Sure. So.
Okay, so it's a nasty fight, and she uses the escalator, and
like in a department store.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And makes this robot tie him up, and he's and there's this he monologues all the time. What a great monologuer the magician is.
Now, is the monologue, the constant monologuing, is that the thing of a great supervillain or a lame supervillain?
Ooh, depends. Dr. Doom's a great monologuer.
So's the Red Skull.
Yeah.
And the Green Goblin. Doc Ock. But there are great, I guess monologuers are good villains.
They can be. Monologuing, it's like great villains wear shoes. No, they all wear shoes. But some do it better than others.
Some wear more comfortable shoes. Yeah. Some have shoes that are better for running away from superheroes.
Or more stylish or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I enjoy monologues.
Oh, they're fun. I mean, it's better than like, you got me, or, you know.
It is funny in The Incredibles, and they brought the
Oh my
Roy
gosh.
monologue. What is this greatest superhero movie ever made?
Okay.
What could come closer?
I mean, it's good. I don't know. Superman the movie?
I think that Incredibles is
I get what you're saying because it's mines all these tropes of the superhero
right,
genre
and looks
in
at
general.
them, has fun with them, and it's
But they're accurate.
yeah,
Um, you're right. It's metafiction is what we call that. I think.
it is
It could be full of crap, but I think that's the term. But anyway, yeah, it knows what it's doing,
right.
and it's doing this very thing.
Yeah.
It's a superhero deconstructionist thing.
Mm.
Watchmen was like I think probably the first superhero deconstruction.
Right.
It's practically its own subgenre unto itself in comics these days.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah, and the people who made it love comics.
Yeah,
and
you can tell.
Yeah, and they make fun of them a little bit, but it's kind of I don't know. When Frozone's talking about, yeah, I don't know who it was, Dr. Ice has almost got me, and then he starts monologuing, says, Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, and that gives you time to break out of whatever, or to get rescued or whatever. Yeah,
it was great, and it was Juice Bowman's story, just wonderful. I like the original Superman. That's a great movie too.
It's almost perfect.
There's a few things that fall flat, but oh well. But
like the pimp when Superman shows up for the first time, the pimp who's like, "Woo, Jack, that's a great outfit." I'm like, oh.
Although
lame.
That happened to me.
Really?
Yes, it did. I had a Tofu Wieners Jeffs. I don't know why.
That was your cable access show, right?
I don't know why they named that to me because I was the least cable actor. But we did What's Happening at Jeffs from What's Happening, the TV show.
Yeah.
And I was rerun.
Oh my god! I think I'm gonna die. Oh.
So we was out.
Fred Berry is your alter ego.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh.
And so we went into the neighborhood and we was playing basketball to make the Richie opening shot. And,
okay.
And then this black guy comes up, hey, white rerun.
White rerun.
Oh, we were so proud.
Because you had the costume down, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
White rerun.
Yeah. So I don't know. That would have happened. I think it would have happened.
I know, but it just seems so dated and bad. Because most of that movie really is like, oh, okay, that works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway.
All right.
So the robot ties up the magician. We got on a big tangent.
And he's really embarrassed because he got his butt kicked.
By a girl.
Yeah.
So.
By the wasp.
Yeah. We've got a Thor story.
Yeah.
Human
Cobra.
Yes, challenged by the human cobra from Journey into Mystery number 98. And it's written by Stan Lee with art by Don Heck.
Yeah. Complicated story. Thor wants to marry Jane, but he is forbidden to because a god cannot
marry a mortal.
Yeah.
But I think
Odin tries to, and Odin says no.
Well, the thing is, there's nothing forbidding Don Blake from marrying her.
I wonder that too. But then if he marries her, he's going to have to tell her about Thor, and I think he's forbidden to do that.
Why? Why is he forbidden to tell her about Thor?
Because Odin says so.
Man.
What else do you need?
I guess. I mean, because seems no real reason to hide the fact that he's Thor. It would solve all of his problems. It's like, Jane, I turn into Thor. But I can't. Thor is forbidden to marry you, but what about me? Okay.
Why does he turn into...
Because she does love Don Blake.
Why does he turn into Don Blake?
Why is there a secret identity?
Yeah.
Because at this time, you're thinking, oh, we've got to have a secret identity. That's the formula. Right. But now we look at secret identities as being outdated and unnecessary, because they are.
I don't know if they're unnecessary, but in this case, if you're a Thor, what do you care about what people think?
Exactly. And I think They want the transformation because this is Marvel doing wink, wink. This isn't Superman or Captain Marvel. No, really, but it totally is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Billy Batson switch, and Thor is definitely the Marvel Superman.
Yep.
So
nothing wrong. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. Everyone wishes they could be a superhero. I know I do.
well, yeah, me too.
Just smite my enemies.
Yeah.
All right. So we have. Well, Thor is told no, and he's really mad about it.
Yeah.
So there's this. What's this guy's name? Thor. He's a nice guy. He's the Albert Schweitzer of India, and he gets this assistant who is incompetent and evil at the same time.
Yeah.
Not a smart move.
Yeah.
So he, this assistant breaks open this glass with a cobra in it. So he's going to have him bite both of them, but only the assistant will have the antidote. But the assistant doesn't know that the cobra is radioactive.
And so he got the antidote, but he also got poisoned by a radioactive cobra. So he killed the good guy, I think, because he was going to take all his money or take the credit from all his work or something. But yeah, he gets cobra powers. He can like squeeze into stuff, and he's really agile, and he creates these like wrist launchers that shoot like venomous poison or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of cool. And he goes out on conquering and committing crime. But come on, this is a guy that Thor could kick the crap out of in like 2 seconds. This is a villain for Daredevil, and he becomes a Daredevil villain.
Oh, does he?
He's better as a Daredevil villain. But yeah, cool fight. Big, doesn't he? What did he try to do? Steal like some missiles or something?
Right, and he's going to try to make Cobra Venom. And he takes Jane, and it ticks off Thor. You don't take Jane.
Thor kick his butt then.
Yeah, not even he gets away.
The Cobra does.
Mm-hmm.
To fight another day. So, I think we'll see the Cobra again real soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I'm certain of it.
Yep.
But, so moving on, we've got Marvel Tales number 13. And the lead story is a reprint from Amazing Spider-Man number 18. Yes, it's the one right after the other Spidey story we talked about. And it's called The End of Spider-Man. Written by Stan Lee, with art by Steve Ditko. And the splash panel is great because we see J. Jonah Jameson with a big old smile on his face. He's so happy because Spider-Man has been branded a coward by the public.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just having a good old time with it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of unfair. I mean, he's fought all this time, then he runs away from one villain. Yeah, maybe he had a plane to catch.
Right. But, you see this all the time. Like, the hero has to be infallible, or the public just turns right against you. Or if they do, you got to do something to redeem yourself. They're fickle.
And I think that's true.
Yeah.
And you can say one bad word or something like that, and
I think people are eager to see their heroes fall for some reason.
Yeah.
It's morbid. It's weird, but yeah, people do it.
I mean, there's some people I laugh to see fail, but not my heroes. I'm always, if I like somebody, I feel bad when they do something bad. And everyone's going to do something bad. No one's perfect. So.
Right.
Except for Superman.
Yeah, exactly. And Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus and Superman. But all of Spider-Man's villains are gloating over like, what a coward.
Or they're mad that they didn't do it.
That they didn't beat him. The Goblin is the number one villain now, and Doc Ock and Kraven and the Vulture are all stewing and pissed.
Yeah. And all the other superheroes are kind of, what about Spider-Man?
I thought he was a real stand-up guy. Yeah, we get the Fantastic Four and all the Avengers and Daredevil. Like, man, we thought Spider-Man was cool. Turns out he turned out to be like a lame-o, or whatever they're saying.
Yeah. How could his super sharp senses of Daredevil have been so wrong? Oh. Yeah, and what can Spider-Man do about that?
Exactly.
What you going to say? Oh, my relative was sick, so, let's go see who was sick at this time. And,
I mean, like, I look at, like, Captain America. Mm-hmm. Now, frequently there are smear campaigns or villainous plots to like defame him or
Mhm.
make him look bad, but he always finds a way to like redeem himself and like, see, it was all a trick by this evil villain.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that happens a lot to Captain America. But Spider-Man doesn't get that kind of luck. The old Parker luck is what they call it. Sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Well, poor Aunt May had her heart attack when she's taking this medicine. It's really expensive. There's no money, so Peter is trying to make money.
Yeah.
And no one, he can't get money.
Yeah. He even goes to some like people who make postcards and like, hey, look, you can make postcards of my face on it. It's like, you're washed up. Nobody thinks you're great anymore, so beat it. He goes to these scientists. They're like, hey, look, I'll give you the formula for my web fluid. But once they realize it dissolves in an hour, they're like, get out of here. We can't use that.
Although that would still be useful. And
Yeah.
they're stupid not to forget that. Because you can find out, well, why is it
It's short-sighted, yeah. But maybe they're just thinking, like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, well, that's stupid. Anybody would jump on Spidey fluid.
Yeah. But then again, these eggheads, they're just scientists. Maybe they're not marketing geniuses.
If they're scientists, they'd be interested in see how it worked. There's
It's
no
true.
excuse. There's no excuse.
Okay.
This is badly done.
Okay.
But
Okay.
still, and even the publicist, he should still go with him. So.
Yeah. So, Jameson is loving every minute of this.
Mm-hmm.
And here's something. Okay. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I did want to bring it up. I've always thought since I was a kid, Dabney Coleman was always my like dream casting. He'd be perfect for Jameson.
Yeah.
He would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, I was watching this movie. It's a '70s blaxploitation movie. It's called Black Fist, and it's from '74. It's pretty cool. But I'm watching it, and there's Dabney Coleman's in it. He's young though.
Yeah.
He's only like 42, and he's like this dirty cop, and he's just a slime ball. But I don't know. It's just
That's playing against type.
yeah, right. But I don't know. I just enjoyed that movie, and I just like. I don't know. If you're a Dabney Coleman fan, go see Black Fist.
And I'm a Dabney Coleman fan.
Yeah. He's really good.
Oh, man. Well, Betty's angry at Peter, so she's ignoring her phone calls.
Right.
His phone calls.
Because he's trying to go get some money. He can't like go on dates.
Yeah. Flash has a great idea to dress like Spidey and show everybody how brave he is. And,
Right, because everybody else is like turning against Spider-Man, but Flash is like, no, he's still the greatest guy ever. What an idiot. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he is dumb. Oh, man. Well, Spidey gives up and says, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then
the Sandman attacks him, and he's like, just leave me alone. I'm trying to get out of here. So he runs away from the Sandman.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want to get hurt because then who's going to take care of Aunt May?
Right. And so he's caught on film being a coward again, and Jameson loves it.
Yeah, but then Aunt May gets better.
Yay!
Oh, man. Oh, Jameson's workers like him better when he's mean and nasty.
Because they don't trust him when he's smiling.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny. So Flash, dressed as Spidey, tries to stop some thieves, and they kick the crap out of him. But then a cop shows up, and or does Spidey show up?
Spidey shows up, but the cop shows up first.
That's right.
So Spidey gets mad, and Aunt May gets better and tells Peter not to give up, and so Peter says, "Oh, well, I'm not going to give up," because he actually literally throws his Spider-Man costume in the trash, but then he gets mad and
takes it out of the trash, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to show the world how groovy I am."
Yep, that's pretty cool.
So, here's something new, different, and sort of interesting. Is our next story. It is called Marvel Boy and the Lost World, and it's reprinting the very first Marvel Boy story from Marvel Boy #1 back in 1950. Written by Stan Lee with art by Russ Heath, who really I don't think of as a Marvel guy. He's really like a DC War Comics guy.
Yeah.
But this is okay because we read a Marvel Boy story before, but it was lame because he didn't use his powers, and this he does.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. A continent rises at longitude 5, latitude 50. I'm not sure why that's important, but they mentioned that about 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. I should look see what the thing was. But oh, so Count Baron, who's this Bosnian? First time I've
Yeah,
ever seen a Bosnian mentioned.
yeah, maybe the
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
It's an
He's
odd reference, yeah.
yeah, he's a
A pirate,
pirate.
yeah,
So whoever gets on the continent can claim it. So
yeah,
Baron gets on the continent first.
yeah.
And
So we cut to like planet Uranus.
oh, this is gonna be difficult.
Will it?
Yeah.
Marvel Boy's father was a scientist who left Earth because of atomic what's-this-is, and he went to planet Uranus.
No. He left because Nazis shot down his wife's plane.
Oh, that's
But
right.
they did it before 1938, before the war started.
Yeah.
So, not sure why that invasion of Rhineland. I don't think anybody was killed during that.
I don't know,
So,
actually. So,
I don't think so.
I,
It was
if, I,
always
would,
called bloodless. And
I only wish the microphone could pick up my shrugging because I don't know.
okay. So he goes to Uranus and discovers this civilization there.
And they're nice folks,
Mhm.
nice, peaceful people.
Yeah, and he brings his son with him, and his son can read minds now because he's lived in Uranus. So.
Oh man!
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he has these wrist things that he's also stronger, and he has these wrist deals that like make blinding, flashing light.
But it's kind of, yeah, that's about the major thing. It's actually Earth will make him weaker. They've got to take these pills every
Yeah.
24 hours.
Which, you gotta do a thing every hour or take a thing every 24 hours.
Yeah.
I can't stand stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man. But, hate does not exist on Uranus.
Oh, man.
That's a quote. So, sorry, folks.
Okay, so the plot thickens back on Earth because Marvel Boy
Not
is sent.
much, but okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Marvel Boy is sent by his father to go and right this wrong or whatever. And
Here's the deal. Okay. All right. So when he was gone, the Holocaust happened, World War II, atomic bombs, Korean War. But a continent coming up makes his father say, oh, I need to send somebody back there.
right.
Yeah.
This is 1950. Has the Korean
Right.
War really happened?
It started.
Okay. But yeah, anyway the subterranean race who I think are Atlanteans. They were like
I'm
living,
not sure they're Sid. I don't think.
but they're blue and they wear the stuff. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of what they are. But anyway, they kind of were living under that continent or something, and so they're fighting with the pirates, and Marvel Boy comes in between the fight or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Oh, yeah. That's
God,
kind of.
that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's a wonder Marvel Boy never took off. Oh wait.
Yeah.
So the pirates lose and the subterranean people go away, and then the continent falls back in the ocean. So it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did that story.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to something cool. We've got a little bit from Tales to Astonish number 59. It's called Let's Learn About Hank and Jan. Written by Stan Lee, with art by Dick Ayers, and inked by Paul Reinman. And this is just it's
a list of Giant Man's lame-o's secret weapons. Okay. Most of them are. I don't know.
yeah, but we get to learn more about Giant Man and the Wasp.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not much plot, just like the regular comics.
Oh, but yeah, this is more just like explaining some of their stuff, which I don't know.
I don't.
I just don't even feel like getting into it though. It's like
Yeah.
it's not really a story. They don't fight anybody. They don't do anything.
Right.
So
Although we forgot to mention the Spider-Man, no fighting happens during that whole.
in that whole issue, you're right. It's
is
all
kinda
it's all
cool.
his inner turmoil. The only action was him running away from the Sandman, and there was flashbacks of like a couple battles like with the Vulture
And
and Doc
Flash
Ock.
gets beat up.
Yeah,
But that's kind of cool. And they mentioned at the very end there was no fighting.
yeah.
It was kind of cool, and it was a very good issue.
There was plenty of drama. There's lots of great character stuff. I think that's why people like that series. It is heavily character driven,
Hmm.
uh, rather than
And I
plot
really
driven.
do care about Peter and his girlfriends, and
Yeah,
kind of care about Flash now. So it's kind
even
of
though he's an asshat.
yeah,
you
and it
know?
gets better. But
Yeah,
there's good in him. And even
yeah,
Peter says that.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
all right, we got a
we've
good
got
Thor.
yes, we do, and it's the mysterious Mr. Hyde from Journey into Mystery number 99, written by Stan Lee with art by Dazzlin' Don Heck, and Mr. Hyde. This guy after patterns himself after the literary
Mhm.
figure. He went on to be he had a super villainous partnership with the Cobra,
Hmm.
and we'll see that I think in the coming weeks. And then of course they would, instead of fighting Thor, they'd go and fight Daredevil because that's really about their league. But go ahead with the story. Sorry.
Well, Thor goes off to somewhere. Where does he go?
Cool places.
Yeah. Oh, he talks to Odin about trying to get married.
Yeah.
All right. So Hyde is Calvin Zobo.
Yeah. Calvin Zabo.
Zabo.
And he's this jerk scientist.
And he gets mad at Dr. Blake because he went there and asked for a job or something, and he said no, and so
Because
that ticked him off.
Well, yeah, but everyone knows. But Blake knows that Zabo has a reputation for being dishonest and being, unscrupulous. And he's like, nope, I'm not into that.
So now it's Count Zabo's mission in life is to get even with Dr. Blake, and it's kind of odd that, man, I'm sure he's been insulted other places too.
Yeah, well, it's like little man syndrome. This is one of those things. It's our plot, okay? So he
Right.
comes up with this thing to like make himself into a Mr. Hyde, like the story from Dr. Jekyll.
Mhm.
And he is successful, and he becomes this evil jerk face.
Yeah.
And he looks like, the classic literary representation of Mr. Hyde.
And the late 50s, early 60s is that a lot of the Universal monsters,
Yeah.
Franks and all that stuff, they got shown on TV a lot. And
Yes,
this is
and
when they got super famous. And then just, Mr. Hyde, I think,
Frederick March's version,
yeah.
and it's not a Universal movie, but many, many monster movies from like the 30s and 40s had a huge resurgence in the 1960s. And it was on television.
Right.
And it was alongside the giant monsters that were going on in the theater
Right.
in the 50s and 60s. So the kids, the huge subculture is we love comic books, we love monster movies, and it's a perfect thing to kind of marry the two,
Right.
bringing a monster movie type villain into a comic book. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool villain.
yeah,
Oh,
I
so
tell you, I used to be obsessed with old monster movies. I could do a podcast about old monster movies if I really wanted to.
man, the original Frankenstein movies, man, they're great.
Oh, I love them.
Fantastic.
I love them.
Fantastic.
Even the later entries like Ghost of Frankenstein are really fun.
Hmm.
House of Frankenstein and those are silly, but
Yeah. Oh, but the first Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of
man.
Frankenstein is one of my favorite movies ever. I mean, it's neck and neck with King Kong, the original.
Mhm.
But I think Kong's got to beat it because it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's still awesome. 1932 or 3, and it's
Mhm.
still one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, and the remakes are awful.
Yeah, I didn't see the Peter Jackson one, but I remember the one from the 70s was stupid.
Although now there is there's a sadness to it because the building he gets up on and King Kong dies on is the World Trade Center,
Yeah.
which doesn't exist anymore.
Nope.
Hasn't existed for 13 years.
Yikes.
That's
14.
man,
Wow.
yeah. And so he goes after um,
Mr. Hyde goes after Dr. Blake, but then ends up fighting Thor because, hello.
Yeah, because Blake has everything. Wealthy, and he has a beautiful nurse.
It's like, wow, that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's...
It's not
Yeah,
like he owns her. She works for him.
right.
But Zabo is a slime ball, and so what do you
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah, and somehow, at the end, they're fighting and fighting and fighting, and then Thor turns evil. And he's got
Yeah.
an evil smirk, and it's not explained.
Yeah, I think it's a lead into another part that I don't think we have.
Yeah, but which is why I want the next one.
Yeah. Oh, that's why you were asking me that
Well,
earlier.
well, that and the Spider-Man too.
Right.
So.
Sorry, I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, but yeah. Oh man, but stupid. Yeah. Okay.
Are you
But those
okay?
are good.
Yeah, I enjoy them.
Oh, did you see the Frank Zappa advertisement?
I did. I've seen that advertisement a few times.
Weird.
It is totally weird, but that's perfect. It fits Zappa and the Mothers to the T.
Mm-hmm.
So, the next book we've got to talk about, it's from Charlton. Charlton Comics give you more.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
Wow.
give me more what?
Yeah.
But this is Mysteries of Unexplored Worlds, number 35. And our lead story is called The Primitives, with art by Rock Mastroserio.
Yeah,
I think this is a better issue than that one we did last
I
week.
think so too. It's okay. Oh, these spacemen from Earth go to this planet.
Yeah.
And they can colonize there. Yay! Then they go in. They meet these really short. They look like Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
And then they got these big eggs they're guarding.
Mhm.
And supposedly these are big monsters. And the humans try to destroy the eggs, but they can't.
Uh-huh.
So they take a couple of the guys away, and the eggs hatch, and here come these monsters that they cannot destroy. So, oh man.
But the aliens have these whistles that they use to keep the eggs from hatching, or
Yeah,
it's
that
a
kills
sound
them,
that you can't hear, but it can keep the monsters at bay. And so
and that's that.
the humans were going to subjugate these primitives or just kind of shoo them away or whatever. And they're like, actually, no, they have a place on this planet, and so we should respect them and stuff. And we can live together in peace and grooviness.
Oh,
It's kind of nice.
yeah.
It's sort of a, hey, remember Native Americans?
Right.
That kind of thing. So it's kind of a cool story. It's not super deep, but it works.
Yeah.
So what's our next story? It's
House on Bourne Hill.
yes, with art by Charles Nicholas and Vince Alacia, and they were a major duo as artists at Charlton.
No. Like the tallest building in Topeka, Kansas.
Oh, well, look, I'm just saying they did a lot of work together at Charlton.
Okay.
They were a duo, a
This is
creative
not a
duo.
bad little story. An artist goes into her house that's haunted. He paints this picture, and he has these dreams of this girl. So he paints the picture of the girl, and she's beautiful, and she entices him into the picture, and they walk off into this new land. And the end.
Yeah, and everything is groovy until the painting is destroyed, I would think. But
Who knows?
who knows? But it's magic and it's fun and it's kind of light. It's not everything's okay in the end.
Yeah. Did you read the Onward to Earth?
No, I don't read these text stories. They just put those in so that they can qualify to ship stuff for a certain postal rate.
Are you serious?
That's why those text stories exist in a lot of old comic books.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, and I don't read them because they're garbage and I never remember them. So
Oh, this is okay. This planet is going to fight Earth because they've been watching the TV shows, and so they want to help the American Indians. And so, yeah, it's kind of cute.
I may have to take a look at it then. I'll have to go back and read that then.
Yeah.
So
Escape, which is a Walter Mitty thing.
yeah, give me the credits. I think I've only just credit for the art, but art by Rock Mastroserio, and his art's all right.
Yeah, not bad. Goofy story. This guy, what's his name? Henry Watros. He's a Walter Mitty type character. Have a Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
So
Jameson has a Hitler mustache too.
yeah. So his wife is mean, his boss is mean to him. So this guy comes up, hey, how about coming to another world? So, okay. And he comes to the other world, and it's like the world he left. So what's the point?
The whole thing was like, just keep dreaming, yo. That's your escape. And I'm like, that's lame.
Yeah,
That's like the guy in the Twilight Zone, like, you reader. Here, let me break your glasses.
Yeah.
You know?
Hmm.
So the last story in this, I think it's the last story in this issue. I like this. This is kind of a classic, I feel. It's called Freedom for All, and it's art by that classic Charlton duo, Charles Nicholas and Vince Alacia.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I messed up my
Your notes.
yeah. Oh well. Um, it's kind of cool, kind of sophisticated. Um,
Very sophisticated for a Charlton book.
yeah, I think that we denigrate the 40s and 50s too much because how people were shown in films, and actually by the 50s American Indians usually were not evil savages like
Right.
people think. They were usually they could have been the adversaries, but usually it's the bad Indians who were
Right.
who were rampaging or something like that. And here and humans are bad.
Yeah. Humans, they want to colonize Mars or whatever. They go and they meet Martians, these bug people, and they're like, "Don't you dare come to our planet. We'll kill you." And so they attack the humans, and some of the humans escape, and then more humans come and they get killed by Martians and so on. But then the few human survivors, they find some get out.
Bug spray.
Yeah, they kill the Martians with DDT that they found in the wreckage of their own ship, and then they proceed to use the same methods to conquer Venus and other planets
And enslave them.
Yeah,
And the title of the story is Freedom for All.
yeah.
Man, talk about that's pretty cool story.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's very true to life, because that's how we've done it when we've discovered new lands on Earth. So it was a downer, but
Pretty cool, I thought.
quality science fiction. I enjoyed that story a lot.
Yeah.
So it is time for some serious fun. We have a couple issues of Shazam, starting with #1. And this is, of course, the 70s revival of the original Captain Marvel. DC got the rights to him in 73, and they brought back Captain Marvel. Yay!
After 20 years.
Yeah, and the lead story is called In the Beginning, written by Danny O'Neill, with art by C.C. Beck, and he was one of the main Captain Marvel artists in the Golden Age.
Well, it looks like Captain Marvel. It looks, it hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah, you see in Billy Batson meets Otto Binder in like the first page here.
Oh, I'll be darned.
And Otto Binder, who is one of the greatest writers in comics and science fiction ever, he wrote at least half of all of the Golden Age Captain Marvel and Marvel Family stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about before, he's responsible for most of the things that we really love about Superman, and his mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And he created the Legion of Superheroes. So, Otto Binder, I want to build a shrine to him.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. We get the origin story, it looks like.
Yeah.
And man, there's a subway car. This mysterious figure lures a little boy into some kind of murky abandoned tunnel. Yeah, usually that ends poorly. But here's this wonderful subway car. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Goes in the.
It looks like the subway car to Funky Town.
Yeah, actually, yes. Soul Train.
Yeah.
Oh, ancient underground hall covered with solid rock, with the 7 deadly enemies of man.
Yeah.
Pride, envy, greed, hatred, blah 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 blah. Can you read the last three?
Hear me. I got eyeballs.
No, you're not going to be able to read those.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, but they're like sloth and greed and douchebaggery and all that.
Okay.
So anyway, Billy meets the wizard Shazam, who knows everything.
I didn't know about this. There's a big block, and the thread breaks, and he's squished.
Now hang on, let's back up a little bit. Wizard Shazam basically explains everything to Billy, like, look, every time you say my name, you'll get to become Captain Marvel and get all these powers of these groovy old gods.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says his name, and the block crushes Shazam. And at that moment, I was thinking, like, how come Captain Marvel doesn't get like sprayed with like blood and grossness? Because he's standing right there.
He's Shazam.
Okay.
But the old guy is now a ghost, so everything's cool.
And so he explains to Captain Marvel his newfound powers.
Mm-hmm.
He gets the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. And it's an acronym for Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
But it basically turns out to be he can fly, he's super strong, super fast, and invulnerable. And very clever because of the wisdom part. Yeah. So it's like Superman minus the sensory powers. No heat vision or super hearing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Captain Marvel was created to be another Superman. Like Fawcett, the guys were like, hey, create something like Superman so we can capitalize on that. And Captain Marvel became more popular than Superman. And he sold outsold Superman in the Golden Age by quite a big margin.
That's amazing. I don't like Marvel as much as Superman, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So that was just the origin, and then we get our next story.
He's back in the 70s. He's beating up hippies.
Yeah.
So everything is right in the world.
Oh man. But the story is called "The World's Wickedest Plan," and it's written again by Danny O'Neill, with art by C.C. Beck.
Yeah. So, the deal is why has he gone 20 years? Well, it's explained by he's receiving some kind of award, and Dr. Sylvanus.
Dr. Savannah, yeah.
Savannah?
Savannah.
Savannah. Working on that. Yeah, darn it. Why am I thinking Sylvanus?
There was like that. I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking of Uranus.
Maybe. But Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. were being given these awards for being such great citizens or something. And then Dr. Savannah has an evil plan.
And with his two kids who look exactly like him.
Yes, Savannah Jr. and Georgia Savannah.
Oh, this is... So they make this. They capture the Marvelettes.
The Marvels in Suspendium.
That was a joke. No,
okay.
In Suspendium.
Yeah.
But Savannah's stupid son slaps Dr. Savannah, and
on the way to go, way to go, Pop,
and messes up, and they get stuck into the Suspendium as well. Oh,
and
man.
So they're all trapped for like 20 years in suspended animation. They don't age or anything, so yeah.
Yeah, they get close and close to the sun, and Captain Marvel wakes up.
And then he breaks them all out.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also other people from Fawcett City who were trapped with them. From the 50s. And yeah. And so then Captain Marvel beats up the Savannahs, and that's the end of that story.
Yeah.
But that serves as the reintroduction of Captain Marvel and how does he get back.
Oh, pretty fun.
Yeah. So next we've got a Golden Age reprint. It's called The Endless String, and it's from Captain Marvel Adventures number 55 from, I think it might even say what year.
1946.
Very nice. And it's written by Otto Binder, with art by Pete Costanza. He was one of the 3 top Captain Marvel artists.
All right. We have a bum or old codger collecting string, and the string goes to a different dimension, and the other dimension there's this king, and he's losing his rug. So he sends his guys fighting. I mean, soldiers after them and trying. Then he throws in a bomb and
Yeah.
to the other dimension, and they're fighting. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a silly, goofy thing, but just really fun though.
And this is the way much of the original Captain Marvel stuff goes. In fact, that's how DC handled Captain Marvel in the revival. It's all very whimsical, very cartoony,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is kind of a mistake. The revival should have played it straight and but had reprints of the old stuff and let that been the stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. I don't know. I enjoyed both. Yeah.
It's really fun, I will say.
Okay, and next one is
yes, we have
Shazam.
Shazam number 2. Lucky us, because the lead story is The Astonishing Arch Enemy, written by Denny O'Neil with art by C.C. Beck.
Mr. Mind is probably the most interesting character of all time, or most odd. He's a worm.
He's the world's wickedest worm. That's right. He's a super intelligent and evil caterpillar.
He has the body of a lowly worm, conscious of a Hitler, and the brain of a genius.
Yeah. And anyway, Mr. Mind comes back after all this time. Oh, he was... Okay, a little backstory. Mr. Mind was the leader of the Monster Society of Evil. He led a coalition of Captain Marvel's most vicious enemies in a plot for, I think, world conquest or something. And they murdered, like, thousands of people or something. And it was a huge serialized story, the Monster Society of Evil, that ran, like, 20, 30 issues of throughout Captain Marvel's various magazines, which was very unheard of, at the time.
Yeah.
Because most comic book stories were very standalone, issue by issue. Yeah, I mean, it included such villains as Dr. Savannah and Ibac and Mr. Atom and a host of other great Captain Marvel villains. But anyway, he was electrocuted. He was sent to the electric chair for his crimes because he's a murderer. And
that's just one to just squish him like a bug. I don't know.
But anyway, he was electrocuted, but apparently not, because he's come back and he's causing trouble for Captain Marvel again.
Yeah. Oh man. So Captain Marvel thinks it's him. So he's going to try to find out where Mr. Mind is. And so he's Herkimer.
Herkimer, who is the Alligator Man. He visits a former member of the Monster Society of Evil, who is now he works in a circus sideshow. And Herkimer, the Alligator Man, well, he's an alligator person. And
and he's in show business now. Although he attacks Captain Marvel, but I guess he's still mad over something.
Well, sure. Captain Marvel used to beat him up all the time.
But he tells Captain Marvel that of all places, Mr. Mind's going to St. Louis, which is
the gateway to the West, yo.
Yeah. It's a fine city, beautiful, and the birthplace of many great men, statesmen, even writers. Is this a joke, I wonder?
I don't know.
St. Louis has a bad reputation, at least, especially at East St. Louis. But
the thing is, there was a time, it used to be, like, in the first half of the 20th century, St. Louis was, I think in all the movies, they just like, St. Louis is a great place. Oh, we're going to St. Louis. Meet me in St. Louis, So I don't know. I don't know that much about the city, but it's also a tradition of the old Captain Marvel stories, is they would have Billy and Captain Marvel visit a different city and be as accurate as they could to kind of like describe the city. I read one where they visited Portland, Oregon in 1940 something.
Too many hipsters here.
In the 40s.
Holy moly. Okay.
But anyway, that was a kind of an ongoing thing.
Okay, so some reason he's in St. Louis, or St. Louis, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
St. Louis, but anyway.
Oh, so the worm is there. He's in a little hot air balloon.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel sees him. He chases him. And so the worm goes into Earth, and so Captain Marvel can't find him. So what does Captain Marvel do? He uses the arch of... the famous arch.
Uh-huh.
And he has a tuning fork and drives the worms up, which supposedly works.
Sure.
And it works.
Yeah, and he finds Mr. Mind because he's the only worm with the glint of eyeglasses that gives it away. And so he grabs him and recaptures him or whatever, and that's that. And we're going to find out in a future issue how he escaped the electric chair.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So our next story, this is great. It's, excuse me, The Nicest Guy in the World, written by Elliot S. Magan, with art by C.C. Beck, and we meet Sonny, who is the really nice kid that everybody likes.
Yeah.
We've read about Sonny before.
Have we?
The last time we talked about Captain Marvel, we had a couple issues of Shazam, and we read another story with Sonny. But this is his first appearance. And his nasty cousin Rowdy, remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, Sonny's so nice, everyone wants to do things for him. These people who robbed a bank just give him the money. And then go tell the boss, and the boss is angry, so he goes over there, and he gives them the money, too.
So they want to get Captain Marvel to get the money back, or Billy to get the money back. And I think he does, but then he gets wind of their bad guy plan and becomes Captain Marvel and beats him up.
Yep.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, the end.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
They're so simple or so complicatedly silly.
Yeah, and they're really weird. A buddy of mine who likes comics was telling me that Daniel Close,
the
comic book writer, was taking a comic book course in college, and everyone was looking at Zap and all the underground comic book magazines, and he said, "But what about this?" And he had Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, and I don't know, maybe they're more subversive. Being in Superman's pal and this, and the weirdness of it, because it's in Squaresville.
Yeah,
they live in Squaresville. Everything's square. And this wonderful, weird, wacky stuff's happening.
Yeah,
and I think that's more. Yeah, I think it's a lot harder to do that than be. I want to be hip in Hipsville. And,
with Mr. Natural or whatever.
I like our Crown. A lot of the stuff. It's just, I don't know.
It's just okay, or it's just really vulgar.
Yeah.
But Arcrum is really good. But when I read Dan Close, and I love Dan Close, Eight Ball. Eight Ball. You guys told me about that's a whole other story. With he and Peter Bagg were on the Hate Ball tour. Peter Bagg does Hate comics. Dan Close does 8 Ball, and they did a Hate Ball tour. But anyway, 8 Ball. Reading that, I'm like, oh, I see the Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen influence there, and it's great. It's so just bonkers, off the wall stuff, and it's terrific. Yeah. And the way his style of drawing looks like Silver Age comics. It's beautiful. I mean,
he does an LL thing too, Lloyd Llewellyn.
Oh, I love Lloyd Llewellyn. That is terrific stuff. But yeah, I mean, I can see the Kurt Swan influence on Dan Close. Yeah. So anyway,
all right, we got another Shazam story. This is a Golden Age classic, and he's fighting a mirror image.
It's a doppelganger of Captain Marvel, yeah. And it's
here. Like the word doppelganger. That'd be a great villain name. He's a doppelganger.
Unfortunately, because having a villain who is a doppelganger is such a trope, having a guy named the doppelganger, it's a bit. But Captain Marvel fights Nyatpak Levram, which is Captain Marvel spelled backwards.
Thank you for pronouncing that. I could not.
Yeah. So it's this reprinted from Captain Marvel Adventures number 139. And what year does it say?
Oh,
I should have written that down. Does it say?
No.
I guess it doesn't matter. So,
1952.
Oh, there we go. Cool. So yeah, written by Otto Binder with art by C.C. Beck. So it's the classic team.
Yeah, another magician.
Yeah, but this is okay.
Yeah, it is. He's got this hat that creates all these rabbits, and Shazam's getting irritated. So
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, sorry. What did I say?
You said Shazam. The wizard is nowhere to be found.
Oh, everyone knows who I'm talking about. All right, Captain Marvel, and he's irritated by these stupid rabbits, so he puts the hat on. So now we know which Captain Marvel is the good guy, which one's the bad guy.
Right. And the magician creates an evil mirror image that obeys him, but he has all the powers of Captain Marvel. And so, of course, he proceeds to fight Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, and Captain Marvel steals his magic wand and sends the mirror Captain Marvel back. Captain Marvel's happy because he can see himself punching the magician in the mirror.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. So next we have an issue of Showcase. It's number 85, and the story is "I Don't Belong Here, I Don't Belong There," written and drawn by the late great Joe Kubert.
Yeah, who does Sergeant Rock? And,
yes, and among other things, but yes,
very distinctive drawing style. Pretty cool. Everyone's skinny and ugly.
Yeah,
but it does show the girls nice, but the men are always, even the good guys are kind of.
Well, the guys are all rough and look like they're fighting wars and stuff, and there's a gritty realism to Joe Kubert's style that I like. But this is about Firehair, who is he's a ginger and he's raised by Native Americans. And I was in my research this week. I read there's a Golden Age character, Western character who was female called Firehair, but it wasn't a DC comic. It was a book published at Fiction House, which is one of the many publishers back then. But there's no real relation other than red hair and this being a Western book. Yeah. That the similarities end there.
Okay.
So.
All right. Firehair is
he's orphaned and raised by Indians.
Yeah, the Indians killed his parents in a wagon train.
Yeah.
And he's raised by the chief.
Yeah.
The other Indians hate him.
Yeah.
And
when he grows into be a man,
he has his vision, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And he decides, he has these visions of white men, so he goes to see the white men, and they don't like him either.
Yeah.
Oh, so he gets beat up by, he beats up white men and tries to get captured by them. There's an old sheriff who's really, I like the stern, fair people.
Yeah.
If a cop's going to arrest me for some reason, I want him to be stern and fair.
Yeah.
And understanding. So they run, and he decides to leave both worlds.
Interesting.
And that's the story.
So it's kind of like Branded.
Yeah.
A bit, like, a man without...
was true. The world would never
know. Marked with a coward's shame.
Yeah.
Branded. Okay.
Oh, man. Great in-house ad for Lois Lane. Madam Jekyll, Slave Girl. Lois Lane, Hag.
Oh, yeah.
Widow in Black.
I think it's...
Lois Lane, Super Brain. And the Superwoman of Metropolis.
Yeah, I think it's an 80-page giant, so it's going to be like a bunch of crazy Lois Lane stories. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, so Firehair, pretty cool. Nice Joe Kubert.
Well, it's an origin story. We don't know what's going to happen. It's not great, but you got to have an origin story and introduce everybody.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and a mediocre story drawn by Joe Kubert is okay, but I like the concept. I think it's cool that he wrote it too.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we've got 2 issues of another short-lived 70s DC book, and it's called Starfire. The first one that we've got to read is number 2, and the story is called The Siege of Lortnan Manor. Excuse me.
You said Lortnan fine, but Manor.
You know why? Because the first word was so weird.
Yeah.
I was bracing myself to say the next word weirdly, but. Lortnan Manor, written by David Michelini, with art by Mike Vosberg and Vince Coletta. Now,
Starfire is a lousy name.
Yeah, it's pretty lame, and this is not at all anything to do with the Starfire from the Teen Titans, who would come later. Now, this is created by David Michelini, who also created Claw the Unconquered, also another 70s book, and this Starfire book takes place on the same world that Claw does, but in the future.
Oh.
Because this is kind of a sword and sorcery, but with lots of science fiction.
Right.
And Claw was just a pure sword and sorcery book.
Yeah.
This series only ran 8 issues, which is a shame because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and let's see. Starfire has a Betty Page look going.
Yeah. She's foxy.
Yep. And she gets foxier, amazingly enough.
Yeah.
All right, there's the Mygorg are these orc-looking things who control the land.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to kill this boy for reading. Starfire comes and saves them. They kill all of them, and then they sit and have dinner, and then they're told, hey, they're just the advance guard. You know, that was something you should tell somebody immediately.
Yeah.
Not wait until after dinner. There's a lot more, what do they call the Mygorgs coming.
Right.
So they surround and the city. The city is run by the boy's father, who wants to get along with the Mygorg because he's afraid that they'll just kill everybody. So they had this fight. Mygorg lose again. They send this dragon type thing.
Yeah.
And Nick gets his butt kicked too. And then so the leader of the city decides he's going to kill one of the freedom fighters.
Yeah.
And the freedom fighter turns out to be his kid.
Yeah, he comes out of the shadow and says he shot his own son. Now, aside from the killing your own kid part, this feels very Saturday morning cartoon. Like it's felt a lot like Thundar the Barbarian, which came later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is 70s, and that's I think 1980, 81. Thundar. Okay. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's an early 80s show. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of the setup. It's a small rebel band against this huge oppressive alien force.
And then, okay, the next one, we go even more into it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately number 8, and it's the last issue of the series.
Oh.
Yeah. This is actually, people like this series. This is another victim of the DC implosion.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, Carmine Infantino was the publisher at DC, and he mismanaged things so badly. Books would just get start a new book, and then it'd get canceled after a few issues, and nothing really got a chance to, stick or find an audience. They had lots of cool ideas that never really got to see fruition. And that really changed in, I think, 78 or 79 when Jeanette Kahn came along as the new publisher. And one book that had actually just been canceled, The Warlord, she thought that was a great book, and she saved it. And then in the 80s, it became like one of the top-selling DC books, along with the Teen Titans and the Legion of Superheroes. It was like one of the hot books of the 80s. So,
okay. Well, we got Colors Dark Domain.
Yeah.
And Starfire is back with less clothes.
And I'm not complaining. She looks great in this.
Yeah, lots of fan service.
Yeah, Tom DeFalco wrote this issue, and I remember him writing lots of Spider-Man and Thor stories at Marvel. And art, again, by Mike Vosberg and Vince Colletta, and they really shine on this issue.
Yeah. All right, they're trying to get to this promised land, Haven.
Yeah.
They just fought them, a bunch of guys, and they're all tired, and they got a bunch of old, sick people with them, and kids.
Yeah.
So they find this cave, and they get attacked by a spider, and they go into this land with a bunch of albinos.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They try to trap them. The albinos do. And they just, is this about it? Yeah. Dark Domain is a place.
Right.
So what happened was the priest creates an Eye of Armageddon. Surprisingly, it doesn't go well. Then it just calls him Mygorg and the Yorg
to be able to come to that world because they were from another dimension, right?
Yeah. So then these people escape into the caverns.
While the Mygorg just basically took over this whole planet.
Yeah. So they're thinking that they can destroy the Eye of Armageddon. The name like that, it's got to be okay.
Right.
But yeah. So the leader of the Dark Domain. That's a nice place. Someone call my house the Dark Domain. That'd be great. I always irritate my wife. Yeah, let's call our house Castle Grayskull for the Dark Domain or some awful name from World of Warcraft or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm sure that
happened.
I'm sure that went over really well.
Mm-hmm.
But
so they try to poison him, but Starfire doesn't get poisoned. But they going to crucify her compatriots, literally.
Which is not nice.
Yeah. Right. One of my favorite things from Rocky 3 with Mr. T is Clubber Lang.
Oh man.
Mr. T is my favorite cultural phenomenon of the last 50 years.
Okay.
But he says, "I'm going to crucify him real bad."
Is there a good way to do it?
Actually, yes. When you're being crucified, you're standing up there, and there's a tremendous weight on your arms and shoulders, and it's extremely painful. If they were being nice, they'd break your legs, so that would kill you quickly instead of use.
Right.
So there is a nice way to do it.
And they didn't break Christ's legs.
No, he died shortly. Usually you last a lot longer, though, a couple of days.
Yeah.
They did stab him, though.
Yeah. So. After he was dead, though. Remember? Remember?
So.
The Spear of Longinus.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's where it gets all legendy.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Man, so this is the end. So they say the end, and that's the end.
Yeah. So they get away from the priests and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tom DeFalco was asked to come in and just kind of write this, like, find a way to wrap up this series because it's getting canceled.
Well, that's kind of they're going to look for the Eye of Armageddon. So
yeah, but it's very like Saturday morning cartoons. Like they're on this quest, and it lasts like one season, and every episode it seems like they're close to finding it, and then they're kind of like led in some other direction. Mm-hmm. So it's all episodic and leading on. So anyway,
that ends for this session. But we're going to look at what we got for next week.
That's right. Yes.
I have not seen them, so
Jeff has not seen these books.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to read them either.
What?
No, I'm joking. Man, Return of Vulture. I have not read much Vulture. I've read a late 1990s type thing, but this is his heyday.
Yeah, this is like his second appearance. No, this is a really fun story. I loved it. Spider-Man. And we got another Spider-Man and the Circus of Crime story also.
Yeah, the Great Gambonos. I've seen a Man Called Cannonball. Princess Python. I always liked her.
Yeah.
And the Ringmaster. Oh, yeah. The Crafty Clown.
Yeah.
Oh, Outer Limits.
Yes, from Dell.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All Ground and Monsters. That sounds like a winner.
Yes, and art by one of your favorite comic artists, Jack Sparling.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Interesting look. That looks like Jack Kennedy. And
yeah, it's
okay,
not.
I have to look.
Yeah. So we've got Stalker with art by Wally Wood and Steve Ditko.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what is
we've got? I think it's Our Army at War or Star Spangled War Stories. So we've got the Unknown Soldier and the Balloon Buster and stuff like that.
Ah, okay. I've read all this. I haven't read these. That looks cool. Steel, the Indestructible Man.
Yeah.
The goofball costume.
Yeah.
From Hell is Forged. From Hell is Forged a Hero.
Yeah. So this is all kind of stuff coming up for next week. We've got a couple of issues of Strange Adventures, so we'll get to see
Cackling Conjurer.
Yes. They're anthology books, and we'll see some Animal Man and
what is this?
Strange
Adventures.
And Adam Strange as well.
Yeah. The Skyscraper that came to life. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. How cool.
Loads of comic book funs in store for you, the listener, next week. Right. So, what did we learn today, Jeff?
Need more Captain Marvel in this world.
Yes, we do. All right.